Hello and welcome back to another video, and today we're back here on MotoGP 24 and I'm finally starting my career mode. I'm really excited to get into this because we're going to be using the adaptive AI. I'm really eager to see how they actually work over a whole season. Obviously, if you saw the video yesterday, we did it in a couple of races, but that's not that much of a sample size, so it'll be interesting to see how they actually get on. Now, before we do get into the video, I do want to say a big thank you to Premier Comms, PLAION UK and Milestone for allowing me to have a code for the game to allow me to make this content for you guys. And of course, another big thank you to all of you for 7,000 subscribers. Absolutely insane. I can't believe that we're actually at that kind of number. I really appreciate all of the support. But without any further ado then, let's head into career mode and get it started. So it's Nepa that is our rival this time. So finish in front of Stefano Nepa in the standings, then 2 GPs, Thailand and Malaysia. So Rising Star, the first Grand Prix of the season that we've got. Well, I suppose it's not the first Grand Prix of the season, but the first Grand Prix we're going to do in career mode is actually the Thai GP. I actually couldn't remember what order the calendar was this year, so I was surprised to see that. I was kind of expecting Phillip Island, I can't lie, but there you go. It is going to be Chang first, which will be pretty interesting because in the past AI have had a bit of a habit of crashing at that circuit, so we'll have to see if these new adaptive AI are any better in this game. I have just noticed that I'm called Milestone at the moment, M Stone, so I will go and change to that before we actually get into it, but I don't have anything else to get into, so we'll head down onto the track then for the Thai GP, and I'll see you in free practice. Of course, the first race is wet. Fantastic stuff. So here we are then, down in the garage, and I've just realised that I haven't actually changed the butt patch, so I've got some random butt patch on for this episode, so apologies guys, I'll try and rectify that for the next one, or after this race at least. I'm not going to try and spend too long in free practice, to be honest. Well, actually not even in free practice, we're in practice 1. Especially since the rest of the weekend's wet, so it's not really going to be very useful, but I think it'd be good to try and get used to the Moto3 bike, have a bit of a gauge of the AI, and then try and get ourselves straight through into qualifying 2. So onto the track then. It won't be completely alien, because I have actually done a few laps in Moto3. If you saw my video yesterday, we did a race at Scott Ogden, but that was the Honda, this is the KTM, so it's going to be a bit of a different kettle of fish. And of course, in career mode, there's usually upgrades and stuff, so the bike might feel a little bit different than that one in Grand Prix mode did. Kind of forgot how long the pit lane here is at Chang. Actually, to be honest, I think they may have redone the circuit. It does look a little bit different. A little bit brighter anyway. I think overall the game is probably a bit brighter compared to MotoGP 23. Now, of course, one of the most important things in Moto3 will be this year is the fact that the power mode, you can finish the race in all power modes. Wow, okay, I've just completely gone massively wide. I didn't think I broke too late at all, but it seems like I did. But as I was going to try and say, was that the power mode doesn't actually affect the fuel consumption anymore. So power mode 3 is going to be absolutely OP in Moto 3. So we are going to have to see how we get on. And obviously with this adaptive AI as well, I'm not too sure how much they'll fluctuate from session to session, because I have heard that they sort of learn from your lap times in the opening sessions and speed up for the subsequent ones. And I'm wide again. Really feels like the bike's just not pulling down at all. That is one thing I have noticed about this game so far. Had a little bit more playtime now than sort of the last couple of videos I did, or my first impressions video, because I did a few online races the other night as well. And yeah, I must say the biggest takeaway for me really so far is that the bike just does not want to pull down. A lot of sort of natural understeer as well, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it's something you can ride around, but it is just a bit of a pain when you're trying to get the bike to go through the corner. At least when you get on the throttle, the bike doesn't just try and throw you sort of to the edge of the track now with the pickup thing. Okay, well, again, shockingly, I've gone off the track. I feel like that would have actually got me stopped in the last game, so the braking have changed a decent bit here. But here we go for our first lap in practice here at Chang. So here we are then, the end of our first lap. Not been good at all. Almost 2 seconds off of Ivan Ortolo, who was right behind us apparently. So Ortolo comes blasting past us and takes that top spot on the timesheet. So I'm going to take him on the back through turn 1. So again, just really struggling to get this bike stopped. That is my biggest issue at the moment. But hopefully actually following Ortolo will help out. Furasato's just gone top by like another second. Just seems like Furasato's AI is OP. If you remember back to the video that we did yesterday, he was miles out in front of everybody else. I guess Milestone put a lot of sort of credit into his performances at the back end of last year. Had a pretty decent start to this season as well for Furasato, considering the bike he's on. He's also the reason that we're running number 27 today as well, just worth noting, because of course usually I like to use 72, but so we can't use that. The game does let you, I think, but for the sake of realism, I thought I'd actually just use 27 in this class. So a few tenths of improvement there, takes us actually not even up a position, still 20th. So we passed Ortola, so I'm not sure what he was doing on that lap. But this has been a much better lap, all of a sudden 8 tenths quicker. And I didn't think for a minute it moved us up a position, but it's moved us up into P14, so we're just on the cusp of getting through to Q2 now, so we do need to go a bit quicker. Wow, that was a good last sector up towards the line. As I suppose P3. So that's pretty good. Still 1.1 off Suzuki now, though, it is in top position. It's annoying, because I actually started that lap less than a second off the top time, improved by half a second, and still ended up 1.1 seconds off, so it is showing you that I think as I'm speeding up, the AI are as well. Like, I think it kind of scales AI a little bit so that the top AI are a bit better, although I have just seen that Scott Ogden's 6th place, so kind of is showing you that it's a little bit random. And this session is crucial. It's the only one that matters out of the practice sessions, because of course there is another practice session that goes towards Q2, but it's wet. The rest of the sessions this weekend are wet aside from this one, so yeah, it's going to be, I think this session is going to be absolutely crucial for sort of setting up the grid for the main race. Well, the only race, I guess, because it's Moto 3. Well, I'll tell you what, I am happy to see that the simulated times issue is a thing of the past, because I've stayed 4th position. I don't mind being knocked down the order in that time that's remaining at all, but I've only been knocked down 1 spot, so it actually kind of shows that the game is being somewhat realistic. So that should get us straight through into Qualified 2, which is really, really crucial. And now, here's the real litmus test. The rest of the sessions are wet. Are the AI still overpowered in the rain, or will this adaptive AI finally fix that? That's been a bugbear of mine since like MotoGP 20, which I still, it's like my favourite game, and I still think that game's so good, but even in that game, the AI was so much better in the rain than they were in the dry. It's just because they were so bad in the dry, you can actually compete in the rain. So hopefully it actually is a bit more balanced, but I guess we'll find out as we head into qualifying. Okay, never mind, I've been put into Q1. I'm going to have to recheck the forecast, but I'm fairly certain the other sessions are supposed to be wet, so unfortunately, weekend not off to the start that we thought. I don't know how we've gone from P4 in one session to, what, like P24? Yeah, literally like P24, so we've lost like 20 places. So there actually was practice 2, as you can see, obviously, that I didn't do a lap in. That must have been a dry session. I thought it was wet. I'm sure I read it as wet, but I guess that's where we've lost our position and dropped down into Q1, unfortunately. The tyres, red hot coming out the pits, so I guess that shows the tyre warmers are working. Maybe they heat the wet tyres past their sort of optimal temperature to keep them warm for when you come out the pits. I'm surprised to see that, to be honest, in the game, because I think usually they just come out at the optimal temperature, but they've actually come out overheated, and by the time we're going to get control of the bike, they're actually going to be on optimal temperature, so they've pretty much done that one perfectly. So fair play to the mechanics there, fair play to Milestone as well, I guess. But this has definitely thrown a spanner in the works with the whole weekend, because all of a sudden we now have to do Q1 and Q2 in the rain, and then of course we've got the whole race in the rain. I mean, it does depend. It depends how much it dries up. It could dry up in the race. It's not going to dry up in qualifying here. It's going to get drier, so I think your fastest laps are going to come right at the end, but it's definitely not going to dry up completely. And we lost the front there. Had to pick the bike up. We're going to go down. That's the last thing we want. Yeah, I've got to be careful, because I think sometimes if you crash, if there's an AI behind, you actually get given a impeding penalty, even though you actually haven't got in their way, so you have to watch out for that. Obviously, another thing to watch out for is the fact the yellow flag rule is now a thing in the game. So if I'm coming on a really good lap and an AI crashes in front of me, my lap's gone. So you can't also save it till the end that you do your lap time, because it's a risk. Obviously, otherwise you probably would just wait till this track's dried up a bit more to do your time, but it is certainly a pretty risky play, because if you get a yellow flag, your lap's invalidated and you're going to be at the back of the grid. So a lot more strategy to this than normal. Our teammate, De Whittler, has gone down. I must say though, the bike, I mean, I know it's very light sort of wetness, there's not much wet on the track, but the bike does feel a lot better than it did in MotoGP 23 in these wet conditions. But even still, we've started our first flying lap. Obviously not going to be, well, I was about to say it's not going to be our best. It's definitely not going to be our best now, because we've binned it at turn 1. So just as I was saying, oh yeah, the bike feels much better in the rain, immediately took to the front at turn 1. Front end definitely seems a little bit more dodgy in this Moto 3 class than perhaps it did in MotoGP. I guess it makes sense, because skinny little tyres, so it's going to be much easier to overload that tyre and come off. So how far are we going to be off Luca Lunetta? Actually, it's Angel Pequeras now 49.6. We've just done a 57.4, so 7.8 seconds off. with a crash on our first lap. So that's a great first qualifier in Moto3. I tell you what, the track is really drying. I reckon, I don't know if you can, I don't know if it's something you can do, but I'd be looking at putting a slick on, definitely for Q2. I reckon that a slick is the way to go, because the track, it's not looking very wet now, to be honest. Not really much spray coming off the back tyre. I mean, I know, like, at this point, it's probably too wet still over the whole track. There's not really a dry line, but I reckon Q2 probably would be about time to start risking a slick. There we are, then up towards the line. We're about 9 seconds underneath our time, and that takes us to the top of the timesheets, half a second in front of Filippo Farioli. I see someone coming out the pits. I wonder if they swapped to slick tyres, because the track, like I said, is looking a lot drier all of a sudden. With 8 minutes left to go in the session, we'll have to keep an eye on the AI times. Again, I'm not even sure if you can come in and swap to slicks. I know there is dynamic weather, and obviously you can sort of change in the GP class, I think, but I don't know if in Moto3 you can, because it's sort of the way the game worked last year was with the red flag rule only. You couldn't actually come in and change tyres like they can in real life. Well, only if it's declared wet. Obviously in a qualifying session you can, but in the race, only if it's declared wet can you change tyres. There we are, then out the last corner. About 2 seconds under our own time, again up towards the line. That's now put us on pole by 2.4 seconds, and you can see that front tyre temperature is at an absolutely critical level. So I think now, and obviously with the fuel as well, we don't even have enough fuel to finish the lap. So I'm going to try and limp it back to the pits if I can. Don't know if you can actually resave fuel now that the power mode supposedly don't affect the fuel. If we can limp it back, then we'll see what the tyre situation is like, because we're going to probably have to change tyres anyway, because they're pretty worn. Like I said, obviously we've got to get some more fuel, so if the slick's available, we may as well go with it, because we've got a good lap time in at the moment. So I managed to make it round to the pits, and it does seem like we are going to be able to change the tyres. It's telling me the tyres are appropriate for these conditions. So can we swap to the tyres? Yes, we can. We can swap to soft tyres, go soft rear. In fact, to be honest, I think soft front's probably the way to go as well in this session, because you know what, I'll go with the medium, because I think I'll overheat the soft front. So here we go then. We've got to try and get straight back out onto the track, because we've got 3 minutes to go, well, almost 4 minutes to go. And it definitely seems like the slick tyre is now going to be the tyre of choice. So forget everything you've seen so far. It is going to be all about these next few laps. Forget the fact that I'm on pole by 2.4 seconds. Yes, it might keep me ahead of a few riders. You can see some wet patches in the pit lane there, so I wonder if that's something to watch out for. Obviously, we saw that in the real-life MotoGP sprint last weekend at Jerez. Of course, there's lots and lots of riders crashing on the wet patches. Hopefully there's no weepers here at Chang, but we've got to just get on with it. We've got to go now, try and do the best lap we can, best out lap we can, because we're probably going to get pretty much one shot at this, maybe two, if we get round quickly. And we have got to be careful, although, to be honest, the grip difference is crazy. I mean, I'm surprised that the wet tyres are doing as well as they are, because the track is clearly completely dry. To be honest, I think those wet tyres had a bit too much grip, because, I mean, look at the time difference here. It's only like 1.7 seconds. It was like 1.7 seconds between like 2 laps on the wet tyres, so really, I think we should be a lot more underneath the time, because in reality, those wets should have been shredded on a track this dry. Another rider in the pits. It looks like most of the AI have just opted to stay in. Maybe it wasn't worth actually wasting these slick tyres, to be honest, since I was already on pole, but I assumed all the AI were going to come pouring out the pits, but I don't think any of the AI have actually come out onto the slick tyres. I think the others that came out onto wets and just went back in. So there we go then, 4.8 seconds clear of the entire field. And I would hope that that is enough. Well, I hope it is now, because there's 10 seconds left in the session. So it looks like we are going to go straight through, well, not straight through, but it looks like we are going to go through to qualified 2 for our first race here in career mode. So there we go then, 4.8 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Now, I hope that doesn't mess with the AI. Like, I hope they're not thinking now, oh, we need to go a lot quicker because he beat us by that much, because clearly it was because they didn't do any laps after the start of the session. I don't know why. I felt like maybe the AI looked at the track and thought it was too dry to be on the wets, but then didn't come out on the slicks. Maybe at the end of the day I shouldn't have bothered going out on the slicks, but I just thought that they would, so I had to do it to kind of improve my time. But even still, better safe than sorry. So myself, Farioli, Bertelli and Angel Piqueras are going through to qualified 2. Weirdly, Adrian Fernandez, the other Leopard, and Scott Ogden didn't do any lap times. Not sure why, because I saw both of them on track. Well, I saw Ogden on track 100%, so no idea why he didn't do a lap. But oh well, doesn't really affect us now as we head into qualified 2. Can we try and qualify well? I have a really sort of scared thought that the AI is going to be ridiculous in the session now, reacting to my time, but I guess we'll have to see once we get into that session. So here we are then in Q2, and you can see, of course, the track is absolutely dry. It's a 0% wetness. Obviously at the end of the previous session it was completely dry, so you would expect that one. So here we are then, starting our first lap here in Q2. Hopefully it'll be a good one. I'm not going to lie, that felt like a pretty decent lap to start off with. 43.7, so already quicker than what we did in Q1, which is always good, because it's always a bit annoying when you go quicker in Q1 than Q2. To be fair, it's realistic that we're quick at the start of the session, because of course we've just done Q1, and in real life, in these kind of conditions, that is a pretty big advantage, but Sato has completely destroyed us already, 9/10 clear of the entire field. Not sure why his AI is just so ridiculous in this game. It makes no sense, but Sato seems ridiculous. Suzuki as well, those two just... Every single Moto3 session I've done so far, they've been right at the top of it and a decent way ahead of the rest of the AI. Okay, so I've just got a long lap penalty because of the way that I came into the pits. I don't think I sped, but I think maybe it's because I went over the line a little bit as I went into the pit lane entry, so... That's a bit of a shame. That has really, really changed our race now. That is a really silly thing to pick up, but fair enough, I guess. I guess that's what I get for not wanting the AI to sort of simulate and not just return into pits with a button like everybody else does, but that's a shame. That's annoying. That is really, really annoying. That's a really silly reason to get a penalty. I mean, it's realistic, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not moaning at the game, I'm moaning at myself. But there you go then, that's kind of dampened my spirits a little bit, because we were in a pretty good position, P4, and especially because the race is going to be wet as well, as far as I could tell. That really could change things. Now, maybe if it is a bit of a sort of red flagged stopped race, that could help us, where we could serve the long lap in the first part and sort of then be able to be in the mix in the second part. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see, because at the minute, 4th place on the grid would be a really good position for our debut. And now we've got a 3-second penalty to sort of deal with. You can take it straight away, I do know that much. I actually might go and actually have a look to see where the long lap is at this track now, because I don't actually know, if I'm completely honest. Actually, it's down here, isn't it? It's into this turn. Let's see what it's like. Oh, that looks like a long one, I'm not going to lie. Although it's... Oh yeah, wow, it is long. Okay, didn't realise it kept going on, and well, I've just messed that up. But okay, that's going to be an interesting one to do in the race, that's for sure. But either way, focus has got to be qualifying now. Can we try? If we find literally like a 10th and a half, we're onto the front row, which would be absolutely incredible for our first race. Much better than we can manage on last year's game. Although to be fair, probably had the AI too high in that instance. Whereas now it's tailored specific to me, which is it's working pretty well so far because. Alright, yes, I got through to Q2 quite easily, but that was because the AI made a mistake strategically. It wasn't because of the pace, so far it seems about right, although it does seem like the top AI is really fast, and the others are a bit slower. I guess we'll see. It'd be interesting to see how they actually get on in a race, because the last race I did in Moto3, which was yesterday's video, of course, it was just those two that just pulled miles ahead of everybody else. In fact, those three that pulled away from everybody else, I think. So come on through the last corner with 3 tenths underneath. This is going to be enough to get us onto the front row. Yes, it is. 3rd position then for our first Moto3 race. I genuinely didn't expect to qualify that well, especially considering I was a little bit scared that AI would up their game because of what happened in that first qualifying session, but I'll absolutely take it there. A decent lap right at the end just to take it away from Ivan Ortola, and that is a front row start, but of course we have got to remember the long lap penalty, the wet weather in the race, so really, this probably doesn't mean a lot. They'll probably end up absolutely destroying me anyway. But even still, I've got that little bit of joy there to manage to actually get that position. But without any further ado then, let's get into the race. I'm really excited to see how this one plays out. Like I said, yes, of course, it is wet, but you never know. We could get a bit of a shock result. So then, here we are down on the grid, and as you can see, it is properly raining now. It's not like qualifying, it's not just wet track, it is properly raining, so we'll get our first real gauge of how good the AI are in the rain, because of course, in qualifying, it was a little bit up in the air, just because it was sort of wet track and it was virtually dry straight away. Unfortunately, you can see there, we have got the long lap penalty, like I said. I really, really hope that doesn't affect us too much in the race. We definitely need to change the tyres, because the game is trying to send us out with destroyed tyres, and that would not be good at all. It's actually bike B, apparently, which isn't very realistic, because I'm pretty sure they don't have 2 bikes in Moto3. It's only MotoGP that they have 2 bikes, but we'll let them off with that one, I suppose. We haven't seen the fact there's 2 bikes, it just was the letter B, and I guess that's probably maybe a leftover from from the MotoGP class, where of course they've got the 2 different bikes, so probably when it's a wet bike, it's bike B. But anyway, of course, we have got to beat Stefano Nepa in this race, because we've got to try and beat him in the championship. I've completely forgotten about that, to be honest. Didn't even look at where he qualified, but it wasn't on the front 2 rows, so hopefully he won't be too much of a threat. Obviously, we are going to have to set along that penalty. I don't know when I'm going to take it. We'll have to see how the race plays out. If I'm dropping back, maybe I'll take it early, but if we are pulling away at the front, I'll probably try and lag out as long as I can, because I don't want to get caught up in the pack if possible. So I'm going to have to try and sort of strategize it based on how the race is playing out. But without any further ado then, let's start the race and get on MotoGP 24 career mode properly underway.
All the riders are lined up on the starting grid. The countdown begins for the lights to go out. Just a few moments more and the Thai Grand Prix will begin.
So Furusato on pole position, then Suzuki second. We're about a mile away from the riders and the camera there for some reason. There we are then, the lights are on, waiting for them to get here for this Thai GP. Lights out and away we go. And here we go, MotoGP 24 career mode is properly underway now. We've already been jumped by Ortola down towards turn 1. David Alonso trying to look around the outside as well. So we break for turn 1. We're at the inside of Ivan Ortola, in fact. Seems like the AI, pretty slow. We've almost high-sided out of the first corner. I need to turn the traction control back up because of the rain. I'm still on the same traction control set I was in the dry. Engine braking's really dropped down as well, so I'll up that a little bit so we don't overshoot the corners. But you can see already the 2 Japanese riders pulling away at the front. Furusato and Suzuki seems to be the common theme here in the Moto 3 class in MotoGP 24. Those 2 just pull away every single time. And I'm going to see what I can do to try and go with them, but it does seem like we have got Ortola all over the back of us, so we're not going to have it too easy. And already a couple of warnings for track limits. In fact, 3 warnings for track limits there. Farioli, Vaya and Fernandez. We're already being told about the long lap penalty, but I think for now I will ignore it until we get a couple more laps into the race. See how things play out. Suzuki though, looks like he's going for the lead. Well, he's had to back out of that one. But I want to just try and get away from the pack a little bit more. I don't want to get stuck back in the pack with all those riders getting track limits, warnings and stuff like that. At the minute, 13 points ahead of Nepa, so I guess Nepa's not in a very good spot in the race right now. And oh, come on, we've had a crash already. We clip the curb, down we go. We've got back on and still just outside the points, but that is probably race over, to be quite honest with you. That is absolutely race over. Clip the curb, such a silly little mistake. We've made too many silly mistakes in this episode already. We've got the long lap penalty in a silly way by just going into the pits. I think I just went over the line a bit, so I think I missed the entrance. I tried to cut back in because I've done that so many times in the other MotoGP games. Didn't even think twice about doing it. So a silly mistake. Okay. Well, another mistake there for a rider. Adrian Fernandez loses the front into the last corner. Puts us back up into P14. But unfortunately, we're down in 14th with a long lap penalty. We're now behind Nepa in the race as well. It's pretty much gone from bad to worse on this first lap. Yamanaka down as well. Looks like the AI are definitely crashing a bit more in the rain. I guess we'll see over these next few laps how good they are, because the first lap's always a bit of a fluke, but it didn't seem like they were quite as overpowered as they have been in the previous games. Oh, it's a crash! Ortola, I think that is, down. On the left-hand side, there's a couple of riders involved in that. Rueda, Zaratuzza as well. Oh, don't crash in the long lap. Oh, that was so close. The bike was hop, skipping and jumping there. I'm just going to take it nice and slow because I don't want to have to do it again. As we've rejoined the circuit. P17 behind Luca Noletta and Scott Ogden just ahead. Rueda's actually got a penalty for that, so there'll be at least one more long lap penalty coming in this race. But there we go then. We've served our penalty. We are free to keep going in this race now. And, wow, we're just going to storm past the net. And the bike is snapping, though. Ever since I turned that traction control down. To be honest, I probably want to turn the power mode down in the wet weather. To be honest with you. Perhaps it was something I need to flick about with on the straight. So once I'm out of the corner, turn it up to 3 to be a bit more aggressive. But first touch of the throttle is currently lethal. It's absolutely terrible. And actually, I can see Nepa just in front of us. So we're actually still in front of Nepa in that race, even though I thought we were behind him. I guess it was just because of the points. He must already be ahead of us in the championship. And we've almost crashed down. Ortola is actually right on the back of us. So even though he's just crashed, even Ortola is side by side with us. So we've actually had a crash and a long lap and still been pretty much side by side with him. So I guess we got quite lucky with our crash. Didn't lose much time at all. But there we go then. The next rider is our fellow Brit, Scott Ogden. We do need to try and get past him as quick as possible. Fortunately, we have got plenty of laps to try and get through the pack. But you can see we're already 12.5 seconds behind the race leaders. So we're not going to be getting anything too good in this race. I'm going to try and go for a top 10, I think. If I can get a top 10, I'll absolutely take it because the way this race started, we'd already got a long lap before we started it. We crashed on the first lap with a silly mistake touching a curb. If we can get up into the top 10, it'd be pretty much perfect. So we're right on the back of Scott Ogden now. We've got to make sure this pass is clean as well. That's something we haven't had to think about before in these games, is making the pass squeaky clean. Somebody's off there. Is that Rueda? I know he's doing a long lap, but I'm pretty sure he was in the gravel, wasn't he? Did he crash trying to do his long lap penalty? He potentially did. So he's gone now too far behind us. I can't see if he's still got the long lap, but yeah, it definitely feels like he did crash in the penalty lane. So we'll have to see. Maybe he was just in the long lap, but it looked like he was in the gravel to me. I know he had a penalty. There was a yellow flag, so I was just trying to put the information I do have together, try and form a bit of a story from it, but oh well, it was a free position for us, so back up into P14 now, 2 points. Next up is Stefano Nepa. Obviously he's really the main target in this one, but I'm going to try and catch him and sort of just keep going. The riders in front, Farioli especially, seems to be struggling because I've caught them up all of a sudden, and you can see Nepa's actually got past them and sort of pulled a little bit of a gap now. Is that Joe Kelso or is that Munoz through that last corner going really well? I think it's Munoz. So Nepa's just carving his way through, and I really don't need this right now. I need to be catching Nepa, really, and I need him to be being held back by these AI, not the other way around. So we are then in the slipstream of Filippo Farioli. Are we going to be able to make a pass on him down towards this corner? It's going to be tricky because I've been really struggling on the brakes into here, and I know that AI have been running wide through this corner some laps, so it might not even be worth trying to outbrake them because they might just go really wide, like Nepa I think has just done in front there with Munoz as well on his inside. You can see Nepa has run a bit wide. Unfortunately, we weren't able to pass very early at the moment. Rider standings. Alonso leading 8 points ahead of, not 8 points ahead, but just ahead then of Holgado in second, Ortola third. We're down in 8th place. Apparently I'm gaining 124 points in this race. That would be a pretty interesting one. Maybe that is the gap actually then. I thought that was how many points everyone was gaining, but maybe actually was the points because that would make more sense. So there we are at the inside of Farioli. Oh, that's close. Not quite able to do it though. We'll try and get the drive on him down towards this turn here, turn 8. Are we going to be able to do it again? Like I said, we've got to make sure the pass is clean and there's contact. There is definite contact there. That's definitely going to be a warning. No, apparently not. Okay, got away with that one supposedly then. Don't know why the game seems to be harsher on the AI than the player with the warnings, because I would have taken a warning for that. I feel like I'm being really aggressive with the AI now. I feel a little bit bad, but I just sort of gained on him so much. I just tried to sort of lever him a little bit, but unfortunately there was a bit of contact. But at least we're in the pack now. We've still got a few laps to try and carve our way through, and that would put us pretty healthily in the top 10, which would be fantastic, to be honest. So we'll over the back of Bertelli now. Can we try and slide at the inside of him? Yes, we can. Over to P12, much cleaner pass than we did on Farioli. That puts us up into 12th. Next up then is Joel Esteban. And then Stefano Nepa ahead of him. Alonso crashes out of 3rd place. Yellow flag. Is he just round the corner? Yes, he is. I've almost crashed. I've almost crashed again. That's where I crashed earlier on the race. In fact, Alonso is still off on the track there. I thought I said that he's actually out. He's out of the race completely. So we actually gained the position there. So it's a P11 now. I think Holgado has also gone down by the looks of it, because I think he was the one rejoining there on the left. I did think it looked like an IO bike, but well, actually it would be a Tech 3 bike, not an IO bike, but you know, they look the same. As he's got a long lap no, he's got a warning, not a long lap penalty for that incident. Oh, Bertelli getting close to the back of us there. But yeah, I saw that Alonso had crashed on the graphics, but then didn't think it was his bike rejoining, but assumed it was. But Alonso's actually out of the race properly. Holgado, I guess, had some sort of contact with, I think it said Piqueras, so I think Piqueras is at the front of this group. Nepa is about to overtake Piqueras as well, by the way, so Nepa's absolutely charging through this pack. We need to make some passes here and get back onto the back of Stefano, because otherwise he's going to get a decent amount of points on us. So Nepa's at the inside of Piqueras. He's ran him a bit wide. We're at the inside of Joel Esteban. He's going to try and go around the outside of us. I think he's going to successfully go around the outside of us, to be fair. Esteban does it. Piqueras gets that's a bit harsh. Piqueras getting a track limits warning for that. He got pushed off the track. To be honest, Farioli is going to be getting on for having a long lap penalty now, because his name's come up so many times. It seems like every race as well, Farioli's just getting track limits warnings constantly, because it happened at Aragon as well in the when I was testing out the AI in the Moto3 class the other day, or yesterday as it was. Oh, we almost crashed there. Behind David Munoz, the front end. It's moving all over the place, and right behind Munoz, been held up by Munoz now. Piqueras, come on Piqueras, give Nepa a bit of a pass back. Please just hold him up a little bit, because I'm coming now. I've just got to pass a couple of AI, then I'm onto the back of Stefano. There's another rider a bit further up the road. I think that might be Joel Kelso. Again, the front end. I almost did what I did on lap 1 again. Still just struggling with the precision and where to actually place the bike. As you can see him making lots of little mistakes throughout this race. Nepa seems to have made a mistake in front. That's allowed Picaras to, well, almost have a run on him. I think he got a bit backed up, and now Holgado is the one on the attack down towards the last corner. So as we start lap 9 then, not many laps to go now, so we really are going to have to start trying to pull our finger out. We'll try and get a bit of a slingshot onto the straight, 'cause that seems to be the way to do it. Picaras sort of coming back there at Nepa. Picaras ending up a bit wide though. Picaras definitely could get another, wow, he's definitely going to get track limits for that, because he's miles off the track. Nepa actually gets a track limits warning as well. In fact, it's Nepa that gets one and not Picaras, apparently. That's very strange, because Picaras was literally on the grass. Maybe that's why he didn't get one, because he would have lost time from that. I'm not too sure. Picaras seems to have made a mistake now. Oh, we've got to go to the right-hand side of him. Around the outside we go. No way, no way. If we just overtaken all those riders, 3 passes for 1. What? How do you like that? They all just checked up through that left-hander, and all of a sudden we're up to 7th place, and Nepa is right ahead of us. We're actually on for a personal best lap of the race as well. Oh, the rear almost throwing us off there. We've got to be careful of these curves. I've touched these curves way too many times with the front of the bike. Tell you what, I think that is Joel Kelso up the road for 5th place. We're going to run out of time to catch him, but tell you what, a crash along lap and 5th would have been a phenomenal result. We definitely would have been on the podium if we hadn't have crashed, because obviously we are miles behind Suzuki and Furusato, but I think everybody else, yeah, actually I can see Zaratuza, so yeah, everybody else is nowhere near them. I would say, to be honest, the game could do with a patch to maybe slow those 2 down, because it is a bit ridiculous that they're the entire back straight ahead of everybody else if you look on the map. I know occasionally people do pull away in Moto3, but it happens every race with those 2, and it's never by as much as they're in front now. Trying to get the switch back here on Nepa. The rear is still snapping again. Probably shouldn't be using Power Moto3 to be honest, but I'm just rocking with it. I know it should make us a bit quicker. And look at the gap we've put into everybody else and put a second into him. So me and Nepa really motoring on now. So all over the back of Stefano Nepa now. Can we have an attack into turn 6? We're not close enough on this occasion, but it does seem like this sector of the track is where I'm excelling compared to the AI. Can we try and get the switch back on Nepa through 7, pick up the power? We need to try and make this pass because we're running out of time. There's only a lap to go after this one, and obviously I can't really risk making a last lap pass. Is that somebody off there? Who is that? Who's that off the track? Is it... Who is it in front? It's Zaratuza. Zaratuza's crashed, so all of a sudden, potentially, there is the opportunity to get a P5 here. The podium is right there. I can see the podium, in fact, and there's contact going on for the battle for the podium. We 100% would have been on the podium without the long lap of the crash. I can't believe it, to be honest with you. But to be honest, I'll still take a top 5, but we're still going to get it first. So, me versus Nepa versus Zaratuza on this last lap. And to be honest, Zaratuza's just got right the way. And Nepa, and up the inside we go. Can we try and drag him to the line? Not quite. So here we go then. Final lap of the race. 2 riders to pass. And we'll have a top 5 in this one. And that would be fantastic considering the race that we've had. It's not like loads of AI have crashed in front. There's been the odd 1 or 2. But a realistic amount, I think, for pretty much a full-length race. I guess this is 50%, but you know, that's kind of what you would get in real life. And we've got the slipstream on Stefano Nepa. Can we pass him down towards turn 3 here? He's going to try and pass Zaratuza as well. This could get really messy as we go into turn 3 as the leader of the 3, but we've run a bit wide. Surely they're going to come back up the inside. Zaratuza comes back and Nepa does as well. But surely we're going to have a good run now down towards turn 4 with the slipstream of Zaratuza to the left-hand side, 3 wide. Down towards turn 4, or up towards turn 4 should I say really, it is slightly uphill. But I think for now, we've just kept the position ahead of Zaratuza and Stefano Nepa. The rear is still trying to throw us off, but I think we've got it. 4 tenths, it's now Nepa behind, so we've got to watch out for that. It is going to be Stefano Nepa attacking us, not Zaratuza anymore. Zaratuza seems to be struggling quite a bit. So just a few corners to go. Nepa, 2 tenths behind. He's right in there. Nepa's going to try and take this position if we make any mistakes, and we've made a pretty big one there. Surely don't allow Stefano through now. We've had to work so hard to get back onto the back of him and overtake him in this race. Even though, to be honest, when we got back on and after our long lap, we were right behind him. We've sort of followed him through. He pulled a bit of a gap on us early on, but we've managed to sort of bridge it back as we go into this last corner. Braked nice and early to try and not make a mistake. Hopefully there's no contact. It's through the last corner. There he is right there. But on towards the line. We are going to get 5th place in our first Moto3 racing career mode. Well, I'll tell you what, our lap times were pretty good there. Only a second off of the fastest lap of the race. I can see that Furusato actually hasn't got the fastest lap of the race. It might be David Alonso. He might have got it, because I was going to say, I think it might be simulated time. It's definitely simulated time. Josh Watley's done it down in 17th place. Also worth noting that it's now completely dry in the background. Really, really realistic there, but tell you what, pretty good race that one. It got a bit sweaty in the middle. Still don't really know how I made that three-man overtake into turn 5, but we somehow managed to pull it off. So pretty much where our race went downhill with the long lap penalty, we sort of brought it back with that one. And to be honest, you can see we were 2.7 seconds off Kelso. I lost 5 seconds for the long lap alone because I took it so gingerly. Without the crash as well, we're easily 5, 6, 7 seconds in front of where we actually are. So we're easily in front of Kelso there for that P3, which is a shame, but it does show that at least we've got the pace. And to be honest, the adaptive AI seemed to work quite well, but actually it worked pretty well, because yes, I had a bit of a pace advantage over the guys in front of me, but it wasn't ridiculous. It wasn't catching about a second a lap. I had to chip away in a 50% race, really, to, let's face it, catch Nepa, who was a rider who was right in front of me for most of that race. It just took everybody else between us was a bit slower, and they were obviously putting them between us. And I think really it was the critical pass when I passed all 3 of them. It was the first time I'd gained from passing, because up until that point, I think Nepa was the one that was benefiting from the riders being in front. But yeah, a pretty eventful race, so hopefully you guys did enjoy that one. But we'll have a look at the championship standings now to see where we are. I think we're just going to still be behind Nepa. Yes, we are 2 points behind Nepa. Holgado leads the championship. He is 3 points ahead of David Alonso in second. Then Ivan Altola rounds out the top 3. So a couple of more points, and that'll put us in front of Nepa. So we've got to try and beat him in Malaysia, which is probably the best track for me to have to do that, because it's probably my favourite track by best track. So hopefully we should be in contention for, I'd say, the victory, but the top guys just have so much on everybody. I feel like Moto 3.5, we could probably try and win that. Well, we could have won that today, but behind the 2 Japanese riders at the front, I think we could potentially try and get that position, but I guess we'll have to see as we get into that one. And I think we've probably got the Teams Championship to have a look at. Yes, we have. We've got 2 identical riders there. Well, actually, one's got Revit and one has got Fury Gambit, of course, is the MT Helmets team. Blue MT helmet for some reason. Not sure why, because they both used MT helmets last year, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, seems a bit weird, but there you go. Actually, I don't think Yamanaka did, so fair enough. But Ortola definitely did, so I'm not sure why they haven't just used his helmet. But anyway, there you go, that's the 2 MT Helmets blue guys, and they are 81 points ahead of Husqvarna, so it looks like it's pretty much wrapped up there. We're a bit behind Snipers. Honda Team Asia, not that far behind us. Honda Team Asia will probably jump us, to be honest, with the performance that Forosato puts in every single race, because he just seems to be first or second every single time. With that race done now, then, we'll head back to the Career Hub, see if anything's been said on the social media, and then end off our first episode. So here we are then, back at the Career Hub, and you can see we have got one message on the feed, and it's our teammate, Noah Deviler. Things went well in Chang. Biker's performance is in line with the team's objectives. Let's hope it continues. Let's see what we can say to him. We're a great team. We work well, and every weekend we get some satisfaction. I hope we can continue like this for a long time. So we'll tick that one and improve our relationship with Noah. But there you go then, that is the end of our first episode of MotoGP 24 Career Mode. I must say, very enjoyable, and it seems like the AI actually worked this time. The AI weren't overpowered in the rain. That's the biggest takeaway from this video. If you take anything away from this video, it should be that the AI are finally fair in the wet weather, because we were quicker than them. We were genuinely quicker than most of the AI in that rain. And that's with the adaptive AI, and I think, to be honest, everyone's been raving about it. There were some reviews that people did, obviously, when the game first came out, saying that it was really good. I've heard other people say it's really good, and now I've given it a try. All I can say is that I agree with them, and I don't want to speak too soon, because the game is, it's not been out for very long, but it's seeming like they finally turned the corner. But I guess we'll have to see as we do some more episodes of Career Mode. Now, once again, I do just want to say a big thank you for 7,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate it. Genuinely, it does mean a lot to me, and hopefully you did enjoy that video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe as well, because it is a win-win for both of us, as you're going to get plenty more MotoGP 24 game content in your subscription feed. But I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.